Today I thought we could talk about divination as promised. There's lots and lots of forms of divination, tarot, pendulum, runes. We're going to discuss all of these, but today I thought we could talk about my favourite, which is pendulum divination or dowsing with pendulums. Pendulums are pretty good if, like me, you're impatient. Yes or no answers, quick on the spot. That's generally why I use pendulum, and also because I'm always losing things. The pendulums are fantastic for finding things, particularly losing mugwort on a very small shelf. Yeah. Two of us looking for mugwort for an hour. Had to use a pendulum for it, and it turned out it was at the front of the shelf, and the shelf really isn't very long. So yeah, they can save you in some pretty awkward situations. Okay, so where do we start with pendulums? Now, there are lots and lots of pendulums available. There's crystal pendulums, silver pendulums, gold, wood, all kinds of things. But you don't need to buy. I know everything in the occult is so, I've got to have, I'm guilty of that. I need to do this spell, and I need this herb, and this candle, because this is what Fred said has to be done, and these words at this hour because Jane said it had to be that, and that's not it, guys. It's not it. It's all from the heart. It all comes from within you and me. And you don't need to begin with, to start with, you really don't need it all. You don't need all the herbs and the candles and the incense and the, and the altar. You don't need it all. You can just, just start with nothing, and this is where we're going to start today. Pendulums, yeah. So I first started to use pendulums 10, 11 years ago now, and I've not looked back. I use them for finding things, to give me a yes or no answers to things. Generally, you don't want to ask other people's private business, as interesting as it would be, to find out if he's having an affair with her, or if he stole this or she stole that. That's really not cool. It doesn't fly, because you're imparting on somebody's will. You wouldn't go through somebody's underwear drawer. The same thing kind of applies with divination, really, unless it's really dire, unless you really need to help somebody, and then maybe there's a few exceptions. I'm not so sure. I'll probably get shot for that. So yeah, a good place to start if you don't own a pendulum would be to get a needle and thread. Simple. I don't know how many of you remember the old wives' tale of if the needle spins one way, it's a boy, and spins another way above the lady's tummy, it's a girl. Well, that's divination. That's dowsing with a pendulum in its rawest form, really. Yeah, you can use a ring with a piece of cotton, or a necklace. Just hang a necklace, and if it swings one way or another, same thing. I have a pendulum because the time was right for it to come to me, and I saw my pendulum in an occult shop, and I had to have her, and I was having a bit of a bratty day. But there's thousands out there that won't work for you. The important thing is to, when you do go shopping for your pendulum, it will call to you. You'll feel that it's right for you. For instance, this goldstone pendulum, oh yeah, he was handsome. He was beautiful. I fell in love with him the second I saw him. Thought, yeah, not going to try it. I know my thing. I've been doing it long enough. Why do I need to? Yada, yada, yada. Got home and it would do nothing for me. He would not even entertain the idea that I was there. It would just hang limp. It just hangs limp, as you'll probably see. One pretty limp pendulum, nothing. Now, the second my husband picked him up, a different matter entirely. The energy of the pendulum changed, the energy of the goldstone changed, and it was beautiful to see. And the answers were really strong, actually, interestingly. So it just goes to show that not every pendulum is right for every person. My pendulum, this little clear quartz one, I've had her for 10 years and she's never done me wrong. So maybe if it ain't broke, I ain't gonna fix it. Now, where do we start? Okay. So whenever you find whatever it is you're going to use as your pendulum, be it ring, necklace, or a pendulum itself, or whatever, you need to cleanse it. Now, you see, I'm not going to go off on a tangent as to how I think pendulums work, because I do believe wars could be fought in people's beliefs as to what it is. Is it spirit that pushes the pendulum one way or another? Is it our higher selves? In a way, it's almost like an extra extension to our minds, what we know is right in a way. And sometimes when our minds are so busy and occupied, we don't attune to what it is that we kind of intuitively know. We know within ourselves. So pendulums, I think, are an honest way of dealing with things. So, okay, you've got your pendulum, ring, necklace, whatever, and we need to cleanse it. We need to cleanse it of negative energies. Just like if you buy a pair of pants or a bra or a jumper, you wouldn't immediately wear it. You would wash it. It would smell of your own washing powder. It would be yours. It would be charged with your energy. Same thing applies. So what you want to do is you want to burn some incense, and you want to take your pendulum and you want to let your pendulum hang in the incense smoke, and turn your pendulum all different directions to make sure it's all cleansed and clean of the energy. And then you want to hold your pendulum in your hand and you want to envisage white, cleansing, charging energy. Feel it come up from your toes, up through your body, up to your mind, and then channel it into your hands until you're ready. You feel ready and satisfied that your pendulum's cleansed. It's generally a good idea not to let anybody else kind of touch your pendulum. I know it can be tempting the minute you have that breakthrough, that you really feel it's working for you, to say to your friends, yay, look what I can do, you have a go. But I find with her particularly, if I know if anybody's touched it or moved it, because she just will not respond. The energy changes. Yeah, and I have to start all over again with the cleansing and the charging and the blah 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 blah. So just, it's you and it's your little secret, you and your pendulum. Go and consider it a friend. Also, carry it in your bra with you, or on your person, as often in the shower, in the bath, everywhere you go, for as long as you feel it needs for you to connect with your pendulum. Very often with mine, if I feel like we haven't spoken for a long time, I just pop it in my bra while I go shopping. Nobody need know. After all, girls, come on, we're all guilty of hiding things in our bras that we don't want other people to know about. So we've cleansed our crystal. Now it's time to program. Time to program your crystal. Now, I've heard lots of different ways of doing it. For instance, this is yes, this is no, yada yada. For me personally, how I always program a crystal is to just be relaxed and just take a deep breath and shake it out. Oh yeah. And then when you're relaxed and your mind's clear, just say, show me yes. So like this, show me yes. Camera shy. Okay, let's pretend. Show me yes. Yeah, right. Clockwise for me is yes. Anti-clockwise is always no. And it's always been pretty constant between me and her. I don't know, or now's not a good time for you to know. It's generally back and forth, and it's very strongly back and forth for me. She, you know, she always swings back and forth if it's not something I'm ready to know the answer to. So for you, your yes and no could be many different movements, and you know, just play with it generally between you and your pendulum. Just say, am I a banana? So once you think you know your yes and your no answers, for instance, if your yes is left, you know, anti-clockwise, and your right is clockwise, okay, so if you think your yes is clockwise and your no is anti-clockwise, test it. Say, am I a banana or am I wearing blue shoes? If you're wearing blue shoes and it swings in the right way of yes, then you know you're pretty much on the right lines. As soon as you're confident with this can take a long time to practice. I know it certainly did with me. But once you're confident with that, generally you're ready to move on. Now, there is such things as pendulum boards with a semicircle and A to Z, 1 to 10, or yes and no, whatever. These, I use pendulum board generally to communicate with my spirit guides, or just get more in-depth answers of things I need. Another good thing to do with the pendulum is always to write out a crude map of your house. Bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, stairs, yada yada, so on and so forth. If you lose anything, just, you know, hang your pendulum over your map and just sort of say, did I lose my car keys in the living room? Or you could say, show me where my car keys are, and you'll find the pendulum swinging towards, you know, the room that your car keys are in. So that's another good use for a pendulum. But I think that the most important thing you can do is to not treat it as it's a toy, because it's an energy in its own right. If it's not coming from us, it's coming from somewhere else. And if you believe that, then you will believe that it's, you know, it's not a toy. It's not something that you can just use at parties or to amuse your friends. It's generally something that I find if you keep it between you and your pendulum, you'll get much better results. Have I covered all bases? Just work with it often. Keep it with you. And practice. The more you practice, the more you'll get to know your pendulum, and they'll become like an old friend to you. You could put 500 pendulums in front of me and I will always want this old girl. She's just a good friend of mine, and she served me so well. So, yep. The main steps are, the pointers are to not get too hung up on needing a pendulum. You could use a necklace or a needle or a ring, or even, you know, a plumber's plunge thing, like a weight thing. Cleanse. As soon as you cleanse the energy, impart your energy on it, have it with you. And then you need to program your pendulum to do what you need it to do, and then practice. The rest of it kind of comes pretty intuitively. That was a good word. Yeah, and have fun. So, blessed be, and I hope to speak again.